This happened at my school last year. I don't know if people will believe me, but I can promise you, every detail of what I'm about to say is true. It was the single most terrifying day of my life. Sometimes I still wake up at night hearing the sound of him on the other side of the door. It started out as a completely normal school day. We were in the middle of class taking notes while the teacher wrapped up a lesson. The air conditioner was blasting on my back, making me shiver a little. Everything felt routine. And then, out of nowhere, a blood-curdling scream echoed through the hallway. The emergency light in the corner of the classroom lit up, flashing red. A teacher's voice came through the intercom, muffled but panicked. "This is a lockdown. A dangerous intruder has entered the building. Lock all doors immediately." My teacher slammed the door shut, locking it, then dragged her desk in front of it. Everyone in the class started moving desks and chairs, building a barricade as quickly as possible. But I couldn't move. I just froze, staring at the door. It wasn't until one of my classmates shook me, then I snapped out of it and started helping. The sound of desks scraping across the floor echoed painfully in silence, but we didn't stop. We knew he was in the building. And then the door began to rattle. The man outside slammed against the door with inhuman strength. Each hit made the whole door frame shake. Then we heard him scream, "Come out and feed me." My stomach turned as he started laughing, a disgusting guttural laugh. Then came the sound I'll never forget. Flesh tearing, chewing, and muffled screams. Our security guard, the boy sitting behind me, vomited right there on the floor. I wanted to. The noises. They didn't sound real. They sounded like an animal. Blood started seeping under the classroom door. Thick, dark pools spreading across the tiles. Everyone in that room was crying. Silent, shaking, sobbing. We all knew this door was the only thing standing between us and death. The pounding started again, harder this time. Every slam against the door made the barricade shake. It felt like he was seconds away from breaking through. I was praying under my breath. I wasn't the only one. Some kids were whispering "I love you" to their parents on their phones, convinced it was the end. And then, gunshots. The hallway erupted in chaos. Heavy footsteps. The man outside screamed in fury, then in pain. Finally, with one last blood-chilling shriek, he fell silent. More blood pooled under the door, spreading further into the room. And then, the banging stopped. For a full minute, nobody moved, nobody breathed. Then a voice shouted from the hall, "This is the police, you're safe, come out." The barricade was torn down and then we rushed out of the building. But I'll never forget stepping past that doorway and seeing what was left behind. The smell, the blood, the absolute horror of what we had just survived. That day changed me forever, and even now I still hear it in my head at night. The voice screaming through the door, the chewing, and the words, "Come out and feed me."
This happened when I was in high school. I went to a really poor school in a bad neighbourhood where lockdown drills were a regular thing. We all knew the routine. The teacher turned off the lights, locked the door, and we hid in the corner without making a sound. But this one time, it wasn't a drill. We were crouched in the corner when I heard shouting outside. The teacher went to the window, cracked it open to listen. Then the yelling stopped. Seconds later, the dean's voice came over the intercom. "Students and faculty, we are now in lockdown." My teacher rushed to slam the door shut and flip the lights off. That's when I heard it. Not the voices of scared students, but angry, twisted screams echoing through the hallway. Then came the banging. First on another classroom door, then another, each one closer, until it was right outside ours. The man pounded our door, rattling it in its frame. Then, with a sickening crack, the thin window on the door burst and his arm shot through, clawing for the lock. A couple of kids screamed. Some of us started crying. I thought that was it, that he was going to get inside. But my teacher, she didn't hesitate. She grabbed a pair of scissors from her desk, ran to the door, and stabbed his arm. The man howled in pain, yanked his arm back, and started pounding the door again, before suddenly sprinting away. A few minutes later, police arrived. The lockdown was lifted, and they dragged the man away. We never saw him again. Rumour was he was sent to a mental hospital. Even now, years later, I still remember that sound. The shattering glass, and his scream when my teacher fought back. It's the kind of memory that sticks with you forever.
In 2016, my school went into lockdown. I'll never forget how terrifying that day was. I was walking into school late with my friend Lucian when I got a text from our friend Mario saying the school was going into lockdown. At first I thought it was a joke, until we walked through an unlocked door and noticed the red lockdown lights flashing in the hallway. The halls were completely empty, dead silent. Mario texted me once, but then he never sent a second message. I replied with 3 question marks, but nothing came back. Lucian and I didn't know what to do. The lights were off, and the only thing glowing were the red emergency lockdown lights. We tried opening the doors to the auditorium, but they were already locked. That's when we saw him. Someone dressed in all black, wearing a white mask, fast approaching us down the hall. Lucian and I panicked. We turned and bolted towards the band room. Miss Bryant was inside, begging us to come in, but we didn't even have time. Lucian and I split up to hide. I ran into the music department closets. Heart pounding, I shut off the lights and ducked behind a massive container. I could hear footsteps getting closer. right outside the door. I dropped lower, hiding my head completely. I grabbed my phone to text Lucian. That's when I saw a long message from Mario. He explained that a student had been stabbed in the bathroom by the masked man, who was still roaming the halls with a blade. I froze, but then I got a text from Lucian. He said he had made it outside to his car, and I realized that was my best chance too. I managed to sprint for my life towards the car park. Thankfully, I didn't see the man again, and I made it to my car. Moments later, I saw 10 officers storming the building. Lucian came back to my car and we sat there, watching everything unfold. Helicopters circled overhead for hours. The school was let out early with kids escorted by police. But the scariest part? They never found that masked man.